Narcissistic Personality Disorder, or NPD, is a Cluster B personality disorder in the Diagnostic Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, or DSM-5. There are 9 diagnostic criteria for NPD. A grandiose sense of self-importance, preoccupation with success, a belief of being special, requirement of excessive admiration, sense of entitlement, exploitative of others, lacking in empathy, often envious of others, and showing arrogant behavior or haughty attitudes. 5 or more criteria need to be present in order for diagnosis, but please don't start diagnosing others, as symptoms may overlap with other personality disorders. Although they might not show it outwardly, criticism haunts these individuals and might leave them humiliated, degraded, hollow, and empty. They might react with disdain, rage, or defiant counterattack. Interpersonal relations are typically impaired because of their presenting symptoms. There are 2 main types of narcissists. Grandiose narcissists heighten their own sense of self, while covert or vulnerable narcissists may reject their own inherent goodness, have high sensitivity to the reactions and needs of others, have self-defeating attitudes, ingratiate themselves to others in order to influence them, and have low self-confidence, manifested as the inability to hear about their strengths and accomplishments from others. So how does NPD develop in people? While there are several theories, this writer looks to Otto Kuhnberg's object relations approach. People with NPD might have experienced cold, indifferent, or aggressive parental figures during their early childhood, which pushed them to develop feelings of specialness as a retreat, and this might have evolved into pathological grandiosity. As an adult, the NPD individual may be terrified of rejection, abandonment, and criticism, as their childhood was fraught with rejecting and abandoning behaviors by their primary attachment figures. Thus, the NPD individual seeks to resolve this dynamic in adult relationships and replicates this toxic dynamic in romantic relationships with significant others. Some recent studies have also suggested a genetic predisposition to the disorder, while some others showed gray matter abnormalities in the prefrontal and insular regions, gray matter abnormalities in the right prefrontal and anterior cingulate cortices, and white matter of the frontal lobe. Preliminary studies suggest that serotonin transporter gene 5-HTTL-PR plays a role in the individual differences in narcissism. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that mediates satisfaction, happiness, optimism, and is reduced in depression. One other study of facial emotion recognition confirmed that subjects with high NPD traits showed sensitivity to subtle cues of non-acceptance in negative or neutral facial expressions, and these cues contribute to the intense angry feelings and accompanying self-focus. Their autonomic reactions may be easily triggered in the perceived blow to their self-esteem. People with NPD are notoriously stubborn and hard to change. They pose formidable and unique clinical challenges as they have a more guarded prognosis than the majority of other patients with personality disorders. In addition, those with NPD have high rates of comorbidity with anxiety disorders, substance use disorders, affective disorders, and other personality disorders like borderline, histrionic, paranoid, and schizotypal disorders. These may obscure NPD and may go undiagnosed and untreated, often leading to poorer treatment responses and outcome for the co-occurring disorders. As genetic influences on NPD rarely change across time, this means people with NPD will experience its effects all their life unless they go for treatment or developmentalization, the ability to understand one's own and others' mental state through non-clinical means. Currently, there's no structured treatment for NPD, nor clear evidence that psychopharmacological treatment is effective for NPD, although useful for comorbidities. Symptoms including anxiety, depression, rapid shifts in mood, transient psychosis, and impulse control issues may benefit from antidepressants such as serotonin reuptake inhibitors and serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, which may correspond to the serotonin transporter gene study mentioned a few minutes ago. For psychotherapy-based treatments, clinical findings from the Weill Medical College of Cornell University suggest that transference-focused psychotherapy, or TFP, rooted in Kernberg's object relations theory, have helped patients improve their capacity for mentalization and decrease their measures of aggression after 1 year. A refined and modified version, called TFP-N, was developed very recently by the same researchers, where the overarching goal is to assist the patient develop maximum flexibility that comes from a capacity of self-reflection. The treatment helps diminish grandiosity and improve relatedness. The goal is to move them from their unintegrated sense of self to a more integrated, realistic sense of self that characterizes healthier personality functioning. Object relational dyads, such as grandiose self, devalued other, and vulnerable self, idealized other, are emphasized in TFP-N, which addresses the patient's different presentations and fluctuating mental states. According to the researchers, some patients may achieve integration that still contains residues of narcissistic gratification, but they will be able to reflect on and contain their grandiose or narcissistic states of mind. Maladaptive object relation dyads persist, but will diminish as they are supplanted by new mental representations based on mutuality and dependency. While TFP is an empirically validated treatment for borderline personality disorder, TFP-N has not yet been empirically studied. However, the comorbidity of borderline and narcissistic conditions suggests there is genuine utility of TFP-N. It's offset, people with NPD don't go to therapy, but they cause everyone around them to go to therapy. Behind the polished facade of charm and confidence that they use for emotional protection, NPD sufferers actually have decreased life satisfaction and lower quality of life. In the study, people with moderate to high levels of NPD are found to have moderate depression, with a significant group of them having severe and deep depression due to unsatisfied needs for love, respect, safety, and biological needs. With disadvantages at every corner of NPD, this writer is of the opinion that more innovations to treat this challenging phenomenon should be developed and studied, with awareness and coping strategies for laymen more widely propagated in the media.